Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome along to your afternoon rabble for Wednesday. What day is it today? The 13th of November, 2024. It's me today. You've got Wilf today. Martin's decided that he's having the day off. He's got some family stuff to take care of, which I think is quite ironic, given that in yesterday's afternoon ramble he said international break. We're going to struggle to have stuff to talk about. It's over to you guys. Then he fucks off for the day. But anyway, he's got some family stuff to do, so he's stuck with me for the next half an hour, and I've got obviously, as usual, I've got another guest contributor coming in. So, as Martin said yesterday, leave it a little bit up to you guys what you want to talk about. I've got one or two things we need to talk about. But before I bring Bryan in, I'm going to see if this works. I absolutely hate this thing, right? Because I don't like the pauses at either end of it, but I'm going to try it anyway, see what happens.
Question of the day.
So there you go. Question of the day. The thing I did make it work. I don't like that because, as I say, Bryan, there's too much of a pause either end, and pauses on podcasts aren't very good. I don't really like that.
Yeah.
I don't like dead air on a podcast. However, today's question of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and I asked this to my girlfriend this morning, and she hit me with an answer straight away within like a microsecond. Is who was your first celebrity crush? So today's question of the day is who was your first celebrity crush? So Bryan, we had a quick discussion about this before we came on. So tell all the watching millions who your first celebrity crush is.
Well, obviously, growing up in the 80s, the television was pretty much your only, or magazines, that was your only sort of source of, seeing anything. So my first ones were, I think it was Catherine Bach out of the Dukes of Hazzard, Heather Lockyer out of Chips, and Heather Thomas out of The Fall Guy. And try to pick one out of that three is just about impossible. So I'm putting them all on a par. But yeah, if I had to plump for one at the time, it would probably have been Catherine Bach. Catherine Bach, purely just because the Dukes of Hazzard, I loved it. It was just tremendous.
These are coming rattling through a lot of them. I've never heard of. There's one I am aware of. Linda Carter.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, that was her. She was Wonder Woman. Obviously, Jennifer Aniston from Friends from Andrew. People obviously showing their age on this, which is one of the reasons I missed it.
Do you know who this is?
Trish? No, not a clue.
She was a WWF / WWE wrestler.
I know who that is.
Yeah.
Nick Kershaw for Mel. Mine's is of a slightly earlier vintage to Nick Kershaw that was a musician. As I said to you before, I went off her very quickly when I found out what football team she supported. My first crush as a probably 11 or 12-year-old was Claire Grogan from Alton Ridges. She also starred in Gregory's Girl, although she wasn't the lead in Gregory's Girl. That was Dee Hepburn. I really like Claire Grogan. Well, there's one, if I'd be slightly older, might have hit the spot. These are rattling through so quickly I can't really figure it. Gone Susie Quattro. Must be something about the old leather trousers and stuff, but we'll leave that one there because it's lunchtime. The sniper Britney Spears. Right, Bryan, who's that?
She's she goes out with Ashton Kutcher.
Okay, I'll ask you who the fuck's Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher is also an actor. He was in. I'm trying to remember what he was in. Ashton Kutcher. He's been in so much. Jeepers! I've just went and blanked. Right,
Gallant. The where the TF is marked. I think you've traumatised him with your profile picture. He's decided to be out of the afternoon off. I think that's the real answer. A wee story here from Doreen. David Essex was on honeymoon song and was standing on a chair screaming. I think that was the moment my hubby thought he made the mistake. Doreen, I hope you and your hubby are still together. I'm sure he forgave me for that. Lots and lots of good answers coming in here, Jeff and Gladiators.
Yeah, very much.
I think the sniper's at it. Mike from Family.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Kirsten Dunst, she was in. Do you remember Kirsten Dunst, or do you know of Kirsten Dunst?
Not a clue.
She was Mary Jane in Spider-Man. Small Soldiers, she was really young then, wasn't she? She was only I don't know how old she would have been then, but she was really young. You remember this one as well?
Makepeace from Dempsey and Makepeace. I can't remember the actress's name though.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I was kind of hoping you would have bailed me out there, but I don't remember her actual.
No.
Now, this is another one that you might know, Wilf. I certainly don't.
Sabrina. Yeah, I remember Sabrina. Yeah, Sabrina. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
that's
totally went over my head.
Here's one, Bryan. You're about to know Glennis Barber.
On you go, sorry.
Show up like that. Glennis Barber from Multiple Man 78. No, she was an actress. I can't remember what she was in. In fact, she might actually be Makepeace. I think he's maybe telling me. I think she might actually be Makepeace.
Fair play.
I think that might be joining up the dots.
And
Jacqueline Smith, one of Charlie's Angels.
Correct.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels.
Ones in there. Ones I've totally forgot.
Yeah, there is actually. There you go. Glennis Barber was Makepeace. Thanks very much for that. Multiple Man. Yeah, that's what it is. Right, okay.
This was another.
Gallant's at it. Gallant's 100% at it. 100% he's at it. Cilla Black.
This one.
You know Cilla Black's real name?
Was it not Cilla White?
Priscilla White, yeah. She's her name. From white to black. Yeah.
Tiffany Thiessen, she was in Saved by the Bell. That's another there was a high school American program. I know
of Saved by the Bell. I've seen it because the boy Screech was in that, wasn't he?
Yes.
Well, the actor. I think he was a wrong, and did he not end up committing suicide and end up in the jail? The boy that played Screech. I'm sure was something. I'm sure he was a wrong.
Yes. And this was another classic 80s actress.
Kelly LeBrock, yeah, I remember her. I couldn't tell you what she looked like, but I remember her, yeah.
Weird Science, I believe.
Okay.
So
anyway, we'll let some more of them come through, but you keep it Farrah there's another one there. Farrah Fawcett was another one of Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
Bryan Scotsman. People showing their age here.
Yeah, you can certainly see the demographic is quite wide when
Timothy Sharp wins the day. The very lovely Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Good shout.
And I think we're going to have to ban Gallant because I'm just not having Lorraine Kelly. I'm sorry, I'm just not having it. Not having it.
Timothy Wilds hit the spot that you were after, Wilf.
What was that?
Timothy Wilds went with one of your ones.
Kim Wilde, that was one of mine. Yeah, it was either Claire Grogan or Kim Wilde was my second one. So Bryan, we'll let some of them run through. So obviously international break, not a lot happening football wise. Something that I found a wee bit odd going back to the weekend. Something not really been on since the weekend. In fact, I've not been on for the last 2 weeks because I've been really busy. Conor Barron gets substituted after about an hour on Sunday against Hearts, and the crowd's frustration came out, understandably. And the manager said he was, after it, that they were managing his minutes. People don't know what the sports science was manage his minutes. Now, I've got two things for that. First of all, it's an international break coming up, so do you really need to manage the minutes that much? Because it's, go back to the old Steven Gerrard thing of empty the tank because it's an international break. And if they took him off because there was a chance of him getting injured, why is he still in the Scotland squad?
Well, this is the thing. I've always said if you're touch and go for club, you shouldn't even be near an international squad. We've been burned at that bridge before with Morelos when he was touch and go playing for us, and then he went away with Colombia and we never seen him again play for us. So I'm quite surprised that if they were wanting to manage his minutes, that they're allowing him to go on an international break. If he's clearly, not struggling, but if he's worn out, the last thing you want him to do is go away on international break and burn himself out even more. So, and the thing is, he doesn't even start for Scotland. It's the same scenario with Ryan Jack. I didn't mind Ryan Jack being in the Scotland squad if he was actually a regular, but the problem was he never played. He came on for 5-10 minutes if he was lucky. So for me, I would just withdraw Conor Barron and just get him back and get some TLC into him and get him ready for after the international break.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with that. I mean, again, from Conor Barron's point of view, he'll want international recognition, and he's not been capped yet. And you'd hope you'd maybe get capped in these because I think And I think these are Nations League games, aren't they? Which is just basic glorified friendlies, really. You know, because like I said, I don't really care much about international football at all. Not really my bag at all. What's the Okay, I've got an echo. So Brian, keep talking. I'll put some headphones on because I've got an echo coming in.
Yeah, but no, it's as I said before, we've been burned by this bridge before, and we don't need it again. We've got enough injuries and niggles that in the squad as it is just now. We don't need any more, and certainly not a player like Connor Barron. So it's we've really got to just be careful with this one because, as I say, Connor Barron has been the one shining light this season that we can actually say has played reasonably well this season. So, to lose him to a niggle or whatever, that really needs. We really need to be careful with this one. Really have to.
Yeah, right. Sorry about the echo, folks. I'm at work, which I don't usually broadcast from, if you like, or record from. So I've thrown a headset on. I believe that's fixed the problem, so there's no echo anymore. It was only when you were speaking, Brian, so it's probably just your empty head. You know what I mean, coming out. So
yeah.
So before we carry on, I want to speak a little bit about CD9's not getting called up because he hasn't been called up by his national team. Their managers decided to go with a former Rangers player. See if you're aware of that one, Brian. See if you know who's brought up instead. So before we do that, I'm going to do today's Who Am I? Okay, so Brian doesn't know who this Who Am I is, and following on from what Martin's been doing in recent days, I'm not going to tell you too much. I'm not basically going to give it away, right? But basically, this is quite a more up to date one than you usually do. Probably more up to date than you'd expect from me. Okay. This player wasn't known by his first name at Rangers, so the name that's actually his given first name is not a name that anybody calls him by. Before he came to Rangers, he had loans at Ramsbottom, Alfreton Town, and AFC Fylde. And in his time at Rangers, he started more games in Europe than he did for us in the league. But he scored in both Europe and in the league. Okay, so the name he's known by wasn't his first name. And before he came to Rangers, he'd had loan spells at Ramsbottom, Alfreton Town, AFC Fylde. And while he was at Rangers, he started more games in Europe than he did in the league. And he scored both in Europe and in the league. So I'll leave that with you for a few minutes, see if you can get what that is.
Well, he's obviously English, but I just cannot place. You'll have to leave that one with me for a few minutes. I'm
Stephen Robertson, I look like Rabble telemarketing. That's why I didn't want to put the headset on. I do look like somebody in a call centre, with the greatest respect to anybody that works in a call centre. Get your travel mugs, folks. Get onto the Rabble Island as well, which I only found out the other day that Rabble Island. I know where Rabble Island is because I ordered stuff and I can actually pick it up. I don't need to get it sent. I can actually go and pick it up because it's very, very close to me. So that was a nice wee surprise. That saved me the postage when they tell me the stuff's ready. So anyway, as I teased you before we did the Who Am I, Brian, Cyril Dessers hasn't been called up by Nigeria because the manager has decided to go with somebody else. First of all, do you know who the somebody else is?
I think I've got a rough idea, yes.
Go on then, who do you think it is?
Is it Omar Sadiq?
It's Omar Sadiq. Yep. And do you think it's good for us that he hasn't called up Cyril? So I mean, he's at home for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a chance for him just to get a bit of R&R, as I say. If you're not involved with international squads, it's a real chance for you to get on, just get a bit more R&R and relax and get a bit more concentrate on the fitness that you really need to. Instead of being away and I dare say Nigeria will be playing somewhere quite exotic, so it'll be quite warm. The heat will be quite intense, so it's probably pretty good that he doesn't go away. I mean, as a couple of folk have said in the comments, you've got Boniface, you've got Oshiman. He's pretty much got no chance of getting a game anyway. So it's a possibly a blessing in disguise that he's not went. But I would like to see him. I wouldn't say he's. We always had this sort of debate with Morelos. I always think Dessers carries a little bit too much timber. I don't know about you, but maybe it's just maybe it's just me imagining it, but he does look as though he carries just a little bit too much, and I'd like him to, just shave a few kilos off. So maybe just getting some of that off him, getting a bit more sharpness. Yeah, I think it's not a bad thing that he's not went, to be fair.
Yeah, I have to agree as well. I was a bit surprised. I mean, going by the manager's comments, I know the players are getting a few days off, which you'd expect. But the way the manager was speaking on Sunday, it sounded like they were having a bounce game probably this week. The way that he said there'll be games for players that haven't got minutes. But I was a bit perturbed to find out this morning that Danilo stepped off a plane in Dubai this morning. The guy's allowed holidays. I would have thought if he was going on holiday, he'd been away on Monday, maybe potentially back towards the end of the week. But he arrived in Dubai this morning because my mate's son-in-law was sitting beside him on the plane. Oh. So that's a bit, because I would have thought if anybody's going to get minutes in a bounce game, it's going to be Danilo.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's only away for the weekend and the bounce game stuff's next week.
Was there any inside scoop from your mate?
No, he just said he was a lovely guy, and he said he wasn't ready to start yet. He wasn't fit enough to start, which I get, but if he's fit enough to come on for 15, 20 minutes, surely you start him and see how long he lasts. You know what I mean? But the sports science things does my head in, because it just seems to be there running the team a little bit. For me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really know how to go with that. So I'll give you this. Who am I again? Okay. So the player in question isn't known by his first name, and I'll give you extra cyber points if you get him right. You can tell me what his full name actually is. Before he came to Rangers, he had loans at Ramsbottom. There was a nice comment in the chat earlier about be careful who you say that in front of if you're up my way, but I'll let you think about that. Alfreton Town, AFC Fylde, and when he came to Rangers, he started more games in Europe than he did in the league, but he scored both in Europe and in the league. And I can see you're still puzzling, Bryan, so I'll tell you that we signed him in 2019 from Oldham Athletic. So you were right, he is English.
Got it. I think.
And Bryan thinks he's got it. Stick it in the private chat if you've got it, when I think you've got it. Let's have a look what Bryan says. He is 100% right, but you can't spell his name correctly. But yeah, you're right. Yep, you're right. Yep, 100%. So, one or two people starting to come in with answers now that are quite believable. So I think the way we got him from probably gave it away. But nobody's yet come in and told me what his full name actually is. So I'm disappointed in that. Disappointed in that, I have to say. So, and also obviously we've still got the question of the day, which I'm not going to play the jingle for again. Is who's your first celebrity crush? We had a few of them, which Bryan highlighted, I think, that we haven't done. Let's have a look. Thelma from the Likely Lads.
Can't remember her.
No, means nothing to me. Means nothing to me. Miss Elizabeth, but a wrestler, that'll be up your street, I think, Bryan.
Yeah, she was the.
If it's not manager, giant haystacks, I'm lost, I'm afraid.
She was the manager stroke wife of Randy Savage.
I'll ask you again, who the fuck's Randy Savage? But anyway, right, okay, I'm going to want to highlight right at the start. The sniper asked what my first ever game I went to was. Right now, that depends on what level of football you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because my first ever game was, I believe it was a Highland League Cup or a North of Scotland Cup first round game between Fort William and Inverness, Clachnacudden, at Claggan Park in Fort William, where I come from, and that would have been about 1976, I think, thereabouts. I could check my app because I've got it on there. The first professional game I went to was in 1982 on a school trip to London. It was West Ham 2, Aston Villa 2. The only thing I remember about it is that Ray Stewart scored a penalty for for West Ham, sorry. It was a Claret and Amber derby. My first ever Rangers game was Scottish Cup semi-final 1983 at Parkhead against St Mirren, 1-1 draw. We beat them in the replay 1-0. And Sandy Clark scored the goal for Rangers, because I wasn't, as I've documented before, I wasn't allowed to go before I was a teenager because my dad's not into football. I lived in Fort William. Wasn't the easiest to get to Glasgow, etc., etc., etc. So, Brian, I'll throw that to you. First ever game you went to, and I know it's going to be Forest Mechanics.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one. It escapes me. I must, again, early 80s. Can't really remember I can't even remember the opposition. Goodness me, it was a long time. First game that sticks out in my head though was the first time that Forest won the league in 85-86. We beat Cali 2-0 at Mossett Park. So that was it's actually on YouTube as well. You see, the kits are funny as well. You see the shorts were shorts back then. They weren't like they are nowadays. And they were skin tight and itchy and awful, So that was my first ever Forest one. And then, as I've said before, a few times my first Rangers one was away at Aberdeen in 87 when we won the league there. So first games were always pretty good ones for me for some reason. We always seem to be lifting a bit of silverware. Although Rangers did it a little bit more often than Forest in the latter years that I watched. So, that was my first sort of experiences. But as I say, Highland League, it was definitely a Highland League game, but who the opposition was, I have no idea.
Yeah, right. So going back to the question of the day, I have to highlight this because this is absolutely genius. From Flighting Fish 90. Obviously, the question of the day being who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh,
that's absolute genius. That's absolute genius.
Jeez.
So few minutes left of the Who Am I? I'll run through it for you one more time. He's not known by his first name. If anybody can tell me his full name, that would be absolutely wonderful. Before coming to Rangers, loans at Ramsbottom, Alfreton Town, AFC filed. While at Rangers, he started more games in Europe than he did in the league, but he scored in both Europe and in the league. The one that I think gave it to everybody that's got it right, we signed him from Oldham Athletic in 2019, and he is currently still playing. He's still currently playing at Middlesbrough.
Was that where he's landed now? Is it?
Well, he's a Middlesbrough player at the moment, on loan from Ipswich Town.
Yes.
So there we go. So there you go. I'll give you a few more minutes. We have got quite a few right answers in since we sort of basically gave it away.
A wee question for maybe you, Wilf.
The sniper says he gave the full name with the correct spell, and I haven't even.
Yeah, I've started for you, Wilf.
Have you started right? Okay.
Yes.
Right, go and ask a question. I'll see if he's right.
What do you do international breaks wise? Do you just cut off everything football wise, or do you entertain the old non-league like I dabble in as well?
I reintroduce myself to my missus and my dog, really. No, I don't. I tend to try and go to a game on a Saturday, irrespective of whether it's an international break or not, because obviously we play a lot on a Sunday these days because of the European thing on a Thursday. So I do try and get to a game on a Saturday because that's what Saturday afternoons are for. Occasionally, if she's going to watch Hearts, I'll occasionally go with her, but sometimes it's Highland League or lower league stuff like that. I'm a bit like you. I'm not exactly blessed with places to go up here if I want to get a decent standard of football. Because obviously I won't go and watch Aberdeen. I just refuse point blank. I sometimes go and watch Cove. I've been known to go to Banks of Dee. In the past, it's been Highland League, Inverurie, Locos, places like that. So I do tend to try and get football. This Saturday, I think I'm planning going to Peterhead. Nice. Peterhead against Edinburgh City in League One, I think it is. So, but international breaks, absolutely hate them because although I don't watch a lot of football on the telly, I've always got football on the telly. If that makes any sense, it's kind of on in the background, and commentators get excited. I sort of look up and see what's going on, and there's none of that really because there's just no football. You know what I mean? There's just nothing this week. So
I can guarantee you, Wolf, not even this is a definite no for you.
I've been there once, and it's because Rangers played them in a friendly 6 or 7 years ago, a pre-season friendly, and I went along and we beat them, I think 3 or 4-0. But no, Michelle, I would not go and see Bucky simply because I don't go and watch teams that play in green and white hoops. Simple as that. So.
And does everybody else go to like non-league stuff, or is it, you know, or do they even go to the Scotland games, or is it just a complete shutdown football wise? You know, where are you going this weekend, for example? Have you got a game lined up? Because I'm always interested in see where folk go and like go if they go on a non-league game or anything else. So, you know, things like that always interest me.
Right, here's one that Sniper's thrown in for the weekend, because you're talking about this weekend and what I am doing this weekend, as well as going to Peterhead, hopefully. Is it not the Women's Ulster game on Sunday? It most certainly is. At Hamilton, it's an away game for us. They've started playing their games at Hamilton for some reason. They moved from Airdrie to Hamilton, which is a bit odd. Something to do with Champions League. Although having said that, they've got a Champions League game tonight. They're playing at Parkhead, which I don't really know what that's all about. Well, I do because it's Chelsea and they want to try and get a crowd in. On that subject, if you're a betting man, Chelsea are odds against to score more than 4.5 goals tonight. Just as an aside, because they should hopefully destroy them. But you didn't hear it from me. Bet responsibly, folks. Bet responsibly. So yeah, this weekend, irrespective of what I do on Saturday, I will be going to that on Sunday.
I am hoping to get down. Hoping.
So, and I'm then, believe it or not, shooting my way across the M8, meeting my missus in Edinburgh, and going to the Second City derby as well, because they play each other at 4:10.
Ah, very nice.
So,
but I see there is a few folk
giving tickets away for that. That's a freebie. They're giving the tickets away.
Yeah. Well, Donald on the Rabble Discord, he's going to Meldrum United, so I think that's junior.
That's junior, yeah. That'll be junior.
That's junior. So even junior games, you know, if you're going to junior games, I mean, that's another one I completely forgot about. Junior games, you know, anything.
Now, Stephen, this Cove Rangers ground, are you referring to the current ground or the ground that they left about 6 or 7 years ago? Because they used to be in Allen Park, which was a quaint little ground.
Surely can't mean Allen Park. No way.
Allen Park was a quaint little ground. Well, actually, once in the misfortune to be in hospitality in there, and you can't actually see the near side touchline from it. When you were in it, you couldn't see the near side. It was bonkers. It was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And there's Paul saying that Erin Cuthbert will score tonight. Oh, well, that's jumping about. Right, Erin Cuthbert will score tonight. I believe that if Erin Cuthbert scores tonight, she's planning to do a Jude Bellingham celebration in front of the Green Brigade, so that would be nice.
Fighting Fish 990 watches Drum Chapel a lot. A lot of ex-Jers men still play there, and it's great seeing Nacho there. Yeah, I believe there is a lot of ex-boys that go there and play. So, but it's nice. It's nice to see that folk are going to various games out with sort of, you know, the top flight and, you know, non-league junior, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's something that I know they have a non-league day every season. I don't know when it is this season, but you know they always have. I don't even know if they do it in Scotland. They definitely do it in England where they have it's an international weekend, and they encourage people to go and watch non-league. For me, I like watching live football. Right? I don't like watching football on the telly, particularly. I personally like watching live football. So it was Cove Rangers' old ground that Stephen's talking about. It was Allen Park, so there you go, Brian. So obviously a lover of the old style ground, but yeah, I just like going to watch football. I like going to grounds I haven't been to. I've still got 4 Highland League grounds to do. Unfortunately, one of them's in Wick, which is going to be a bit of a task, but I'll get there eventually. But it's just nice to go. But you have to go to these games